Hello again, friends, and welcome to another segment here on Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. As you can see, I returned here to the art cellar just for a little bit of a change of scenery. And I wanted to share with you some information about all the wines you see here on the table. Today, I'm going to talk to you and share with you and do a little tasting all around the grape called Garnacha. So welcome and cheers. I don't know if you wonder how I often come to the topics that I'm going to choose, but this one is a little bit of a funny story. The other night we had an unfortunate power outage here, and my wife and I decided, well, it happened right around dinner time. So as a matter of fact, right after her art class on a Wednesday, so we figured we had to go out to dinner. So we went out, found a place that wasn't too far away that didn't suffer from the power outage. And to make a long story short, we went to order wine during the dinner and we couldn't figure out what to order. So on the menu was a wine called Cananao. I said, oh, why don't you just give that one a try, because my wife was going to have something that needed a little red wine. So I said, that Cananao, that name, that rings a bell. I said, I think that grape it has another name. So I looked it up, and lo and behold, guess what? Another name for Cananao is Grenache or Garnacha. So here you have it. If you think I'd go into this long, deep planning on what I'm going to do, I kind of go, oh, well, let's do that. So I guess it was a sign that was time for me to talk about Grenache. I have not talked about it. I wanted to work it in, and I finally found my chance to do it. So here we are, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background on it. I have some wonderful web resources that you can look at that will allow you, those of you who like to follow up and read a little bit from the information that I share with you. So the little bit of information that I want to share with you has to do with the grape itself. So let's talk about it. It's called Garnacha, Grenache, and in Sardinia, they also call it Cananao. And you can find it in all three versions. Probably not here in PA. I hate to say it. PA is a little bit, what's the word I want to use? A little bit limited in their finding and producing some of the more, and this is not an obscure grape, but it doesn't generally, people aren't going around going, I think I'll go get a Cananao. So let me talk about the different things revolving around this grape to help give you a little bit of a background, because that's what we're here for, really, to educate and have a sip. So let's start with the education first. The botanical evidence suggests that this grape was found, at least its first trace, about in 150 BCE. So over 2 millennia ago, and its birthplace is considered to be in the region of Spain called Aragon. And Aragon is to the slight northwest of Barcelona area, bordered by the Pyrenees Mountains, in between a lot of wine regions in Spain. But Aragon is considered the home of Garnacha. And so great Garnacha comes from Spain. And so as it moved through the centuries, the wine obviously found its way to other places. It made its way to southern France in the Rhone Valley, which is a major producer of it today. It obviously, with the immigration, made it across the ocean to the United States, found a home in California, and with world trade and world migration being what it was, it also found a wonderful home in Australia. So if you move up to modern times, the grape is principally produced in Spain, in southern France, in Australia, and in California. California, all the regions do a wonderful job with the grape called Garnacha. I might go back and forth between Grenache and Garnacha, but you'll know what I'm talking about. Now you see, I've put quite a few bottles on the table. By no means am I going to crack open all of these because, frankly, a few of them are a bit expensive. And since I'm sitting here alone drinking, if you would all join me sometime, we could have a party and we have a little round table about what we're drinking out of the bottle. Maybe that's an idea for some future events. So let me start first of all with the more information about the grape. It comes in white, which is really just a mutation of the red. So you get your Garnacha Blanca or Grenache Blanc. It's also made in a rosé. Remember, I say it all the time when I'm talking about red wine, that any wine that you have in the red version can be made into a rosé. Some suit themselves better to doing that, others do not. Grenache is one that does. And as you can see here, I have a wonderful rosé that is a Côte du Rhône rosé, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You can see the beautiful color. So let's start out with the white grape, and I have a bottle here. Now this is one of the things I want to say about this. If you go to search for Grenache and you walk in and you go, oh, I want a Grenache Blanc to your liquor store or wine shop food employee, the person working there, they might not have it, or they might not even really know what you're talking about. Because Grenache, believe it or not, does come in single varietals, which I'm going to show you here, but it is principally a blending grape because Grenache adds a wonderful balance and fruitiness in the white or the red form to its mixture with a whole host of other wines that grow in similar climates and in similar circumstances. So the wine that I have here for you here, it's called Bonnie Doon Le Cigare Blanc. This is from one of my favorite wineries in California. It does make its way to PA once in a while, but in all honesty, this is not a Grenache total wine. This is a wine that has Grenache in it, but the Grenache adds such a fruitiness to it. You get on a regular, if this were a straight Grenache, you'd get some pear, some citrus, maybe a little honeysuckle. It's always, no matter where it comes from, very aromatic, medium bodied. Wow, that one's wonderful. Now this one happens to be 73% Vermentino, which is an Italian-based grape, 25% Grenache Blanc, and 4% of Claret Blanc, which is generally a grape that is used for blending. You don't see too much Claret done except by real niche kind of winemakers. So this wine is a representation of how Grenache Blanc, Garnacha Blanca, you can find Garnacha Blanca in PA. It's just not something that's going to be on your neighborhood. You're going to have to probably go to one of the premium wine shops. I hope that they have it. You may be even able in Pennsylvania to put in a special liquor order. So that's the white version. I don't have on stock. A number of years ago, I had some Grenache Blanc from this same winery. They had stopped producing it because it's just a matter of selling it and having an appeal to people. It's unfortunate that it doesn't have an appeal because I can tell you it is a wonderful alternative to your Sauvignon Blancs, to your Chardonnays, to your Pinot Grigios and Pinot Gris. Not that those are bad, but this is a wonderful alternative to those and can do the very same things. Interestingly enough, and I don't happen to have a bottle of it, it comes in a sparkling version as well. And I know that there's one available at Total Wine. I just didn't have the opportunity. At Total Wine's a little bit of a drive for me, and they don't ship. I've also had a Grenache Rosé from this same winery, Bonnie Doon. Grenache Rosé Sparkling, absolutely fantastic. So it runs the gamut. It can be made into a sweet wine too for drinking it as a dessert wine. So it's a very versatile grape. It's in the top 10 grapes grown on the planet. Did a little research. So it's in that group with Chardonnay, Cabernet, Sauvignon Blanc, all of the grapes that you know and love. This is one that I hope you come to know and love as time goes on. So the next thing that I would like to do is sample for you a version of the rosé. And we can do that as soon as I clear out my glass. So this is a Côte du Rhône. The Southern Rhone Valley is an area where this grape is prolific. It is the most planted grape in the Southern Rhone Valley, Grenache. As again, it adds fruitiness. Look at that wonderful color. Mm. You get the same red profile, a little bit of strawberry in there, a little bit of acid, very crisp, very good. So I'm going to give you a little tip. If you go into a PA store and you want to get something that has some Grenache in it, whether it's a rosé, or you might get lucky and it'll just say Garnacha on the bottle or Grenache, go to the Spain section. You'll find plenty of Garnacha, very, very good price point. I was just in the other day at the wine and spirit shop to just explore, and there are a number of very good Spanish Garnachas, the red ones. And Spanish wine is at such a great price point. You're crazy if you don't go get some. You can get it all for under $15, and it will be very good. So there you have a sample of the rosé. I'm going to set it over here. Looks like a nice flower pot there. Now, I want to talk about all of these reds that I have here on the table to point out exactly, because Grenache as a red is where it's in its power. So I have for you here a number of bottles, and I want to talk about each one specifically. And before I do that, I'm going to pour the one from Spain to pay homage to the birthplace of the grape we're talking about. This one was a $13 bottle of wine. I'm just going to tell you that point blank. I got this one on wine.com, but you can get very, very similar ones at whatever wine shop you want to shop at. So I had told you earlier that it's primarily a blending grape. However, it is available, not that one, but this one of my favorite wineries that I have shipped that I'm planning to go visit in the fall. This one is a 2020 full blended, full varietal Grenache from Paso Robles in California. I haven't even opened this yet. I actually want to let it sit for a while. It's already 4 years in the bottle. I want to give it probably at least another year to let it just mellow out. And that really does mean something, because the wine collection that I have that luxury of waiting for wines to mature just a little bit more. So that one is a pure bred Grenache. This one is another one from California, made by Randall Graham, who was one of the original pioneers of Rhone grapes in California. This is another one. It is a 100% Grenache, and it is 100% from California. Now, I do also have for you on the table, and these will all have a little bit different flavor profile, but they'll all show a little bit of berries, some plums, some herbs, maybe some leather. While this one's moving around in the glass, let's test that out. Told you about the fruit as well. The fruit in this one. Wow. Berry plum combination. It's like everything's very dry, but very, very fruity. This is going to be such a food-friendly wine. This is actually a red that you could probably just sip. I know a lot of people like to just sip reds. I like to have reds too. Do prefer them with food, but I'll sip them if I have to. So back to the different bottles that we have here on the table. Now you'll notice here, this one is called, if you look at the bottom of the bottle, hopefully you can see it. At the bottom it says Côte du Rhône Village. So that means that they've sourced grapes from all over the Southern Rhone. And this, generally, you'll see wines that contain Grenache. They're referred to as either CDRs, Côte du Rhône, or they're referred to as GSMs, which stands for Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre, which are other Rhone grapes that are fantastic also on their own. But when you put the three of them together in one bottle, magnifique. Magnifico. It makes such a wonderful wine. This one happens to be from France, so that's a Côte du Rhône Village. That's a blend. This next one is a California Tablas Creek. They call it Petalin de Tablas. And this one is, I'm going to read from the bottle for you, 43% Syrah, 28% Grenache, 23% Mourvedre, and 6% Counoise, which is another one of the blending grapes that's used in the Southern Rhone wines. Now, where Grenache is considered to be most important is in a wine in France called Chateau Neuf du Pape, Castle of the New Pope, one of the most famous red wines in the world. This one is 55% Grenache and 45% Syrah. And without Grenache, you do not have. It has to be the base wine for Chateau Neuf du Pape. And I'm just going to tell you, you can find a Chateau Neuf du Pape tomorrow if you want. Get ready to pay. They don't come at a bargain price. They do come at a premium. So I do recommend at some point in your life, you splurge and have yourself a great Chateau Neuf du Pape. So, and then I finally want to end with the paying homage to the birthplace of this wonderful grape that we call Garnacha. This one comes from the region I was talking about in Aragon. It is 100% Spanish Garnacha. It is a 2020 vintage, so it's probably a little bit young. It's 14.5% alcohol by volume. So you're going to get a little bit of a buzz with, only if you drink too much, but you get a nice warm feeling if you have yourself a little bit of sip of this. So, to Garnacha, salud. And to Grenache, santé. And until the next time, stay safe and go get yourself some Garnacha.